God's love is unconditional. It doesn't depend on who you are, but on who He is. When we talk about love in this world, we often describe it based on performance, on conditions, on whether or not we meet certain expectations. Human love can sometimes be fragile, dependent on what we do, how we act, or how we treat the other person. But God's love is not built on human standards. His love does not fluctuate with moods or change with circumstances. His love is rooted in His very nature. God doesn't love because you are perfect. He loves because He is perfect. He doesn't love because you are flawless. He loves because He is love itself. When the Bible says agape is love, it means love is not just what He gives, it is who He is, His very essence, His unshakable character. There are people who carry the weight of guilt and shame, thinking they have to earn God's approval, imagining that His love must be purchased by good behavior, holy living, or perfect obedience. But that is not how divine love operates. God's love is given freely, not as a reward, but as a gift. When you were at your lowest, when you were far from Him, when you had no thought of Him, He still loved you. The scriptures remind us that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Think about that. He did not wait for you to get yourself together. He did not wait until you prayed enough, fasted enough, or proved yourself worthy. He loved you before you knew His name, before you spoke a prayer, before you took a step toward Him. His love preceded your actions because His love is unconditional. When people fail us, their love often weakens. When we make mistakes, others may withdraw, but God's love is not tied to our performance. He does not stop loving when we stumble. He does not cancel His love when we fall short. Instead, He steps closer, like the shepherd who leaves the 99 to go after the one. His love is relentless. It pursues, it chases, it refuses to let go. Some of us have run from God, tried to escape His calling, tried to live outside of His will. But even in the farthest places, His love has followed us. David said, "If I ascend into heaven, You are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, You are there." There is nowhere you can run where God's love will not find you. So many people confuse worthiness with love. They think because they are unworthy, they are unlovable. But God's love is not given because you are worthy. It is given because you are His creation. Just as a parent loves their child, not because the child earns it, but because the child belongs to them. God loves you because you belong to Him. You are His workmanship, His design, His masterpiece. You may see your flaws, your scars, your failures, but God looks beyond them and sees His image in you. He sees what He created, not just what you became. His love sees your potential, not only your past. That is why His love lifts you, restores you, redeems you, because He knows who He made you to be. Sometimes life tries to convince us that we are forgotten, that God has overlooked us, that He has abandoned us because of our mistakes. But His love never abandons. His love is constant. His love is faithful. Even when you are faithless, He remains faithful, for He cannot deny Himself. This means His love is not fragile like human love. It does not walk away when times are hard. It does not disappear in seasons of weakness. It is unconditional, everlasting, unchanging. From the beginning of time until now, his love has been the same. Before the foundation of the world, he loved you. Before your first breath, he loved you. Before you knew your own name, he called you by his. That is the power of unconditional love. The enemy wants to distort our understanding of love. He wants us to believe that love is always transactional, that we have to do something to deserve it, that if we make mistakes, we disqualify ourselves. But God's love cannot be disqualified. You cannot lose it. You cannot out-sin it. You cannot outrun it. You may try to shut it out, but it will always knock again. His love is the kind that waits at the door like the father of the prodigal son. That father never stopped loving his child, even when the child left home, squandered everything, and lost himself in failure. The father's love never changed. And when the son returned dirty but broken and ashamed, the father ran to him, embraced him, and restored him. That is the picture of God's unconditional love. Always waiting, always ready, always embracing. This love changes everything. It takes broken people and makes them whole. It takes guilty people and makes them forgiven. It takes rejected people and makes them accepted. It takes those who feel unloved and covers them with eternal love. God's unconditional love is not soft or weak. It is strong, powerful, and enduring. It has the power to break chains, heal wounds, and rewrite destinies. It is the love that carried the cross, the love that endured nails, the love that chose sacrifice over comfort. No one forced Jesus to die. Love put him there. Love held him on that cross when he could have called down angels to rescue him. Love made him stay because his love was not based on what you could do for him, but on what he chose to do for you. When you finally understand that God's love is unconditional, it sets you free from the prison of performance. You no longer live trying to earn his love. You live responding to it. You no longer walk in fear of losing his love. You walk in confidence, knowing it will never leave. This revelation changes your relationship with him. You stop trying to buy his approval, and you start resting in his grace. You stop trying to be good enough, and you start realizing he is good enough. You stop measuring your worth by the world's standards, and you start realizing your worth is already secured in his love. Even in your darkest valley, his love is there. Even in your deepest pain, his love is present. Even when friends walk away, when doors close, when opportunities are lost, his love remains. It is not shaken by your storm. It is not diminished by your weakness. It is not undone by your failure. His love does not fail because it does not depend on the changing conditions of life. It depends on his eternal nature. And because he does not change, his love does not change. And because he is eternal, his love is eternal. His love restores what rejection and betrayal tried to break. Rejection is one of the deepest wounds a soul can carry. It leaves scars that people do not always see, but they shape how we think, how we trust, and how we view ourselves. Betrayal pierces even deeper because it comes not from strangers, but from those we trusted, those we believed in, those we opened our hearts to. Some of the most painful moments in life are not when enemies oppose us, but when people close to us walk away, when they turn their backs, when they use what we gave them against us. Rejection whispers that you are not good enough. Betrayal screams that you were never valued, but the love of God speaks louder than both. God's love does not ignore your brokenness, it heals it. When rejection makes you feel discarded, His love gathers you. When betrayal leaves you shattered, His love restores you. He is the God who binds up the brokenhearted, who lifts the crushed in spirit, who restores the years that the locusts have eaten. His love is like a balm that reaches places words cannot touch. Human encouragement may comfort for a moment, but God's love goes to the root, to the inner core of your being, to the wounds that only He can see. He doesn't just cover the hurt, He transforms it. He takes the fragments of what betrayal tried to destroy, and He puts you back together in a way that is stronger than before. When Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, rejection tried to define his destiny. His brothers thought they had buried his dreams. They thought they had silenced his vision. But God's love was with Joseph, even in the pit, even in the prison, even in the forgotten places. And in the end, the very betrayal that was meant to destroy him became the pathway to his purpose. That is what God's love does. It takes betrayal and turns it into breakthrough. It takes rejection and turns it into redirection. People may push you out, but God's love pulls you in. People may break your trust, but God's love builds a new foundation that cannot be shaken. Rejection often lies in the heart. It makes you believe that you are not worthy of love, that you will always be unwanted, that you will never belong. But God's love speaks truth to those lies. He says, "You are mine. I have chosen you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made." His love cancels the false labels that rejection tried to place on you. You are not forgotten. You are not disposable. You are not replaceable. You are a child of the Most High, and His love redefines your worth. You do not have to life seeking the approval of people who rejected you, because the approval of God outweighs every rejection from man. Betrayal has a way of making people close their hearts, building walls to protect themselves from further pain. But God's love tears down those walls and replaces fear with trust. His love is safe. His love is steady. His love will never betray you. While people may break promises, He keeps every one of His. While people may fail you, He remains faithful. His love restores your ability to trust again, not because people suddenly become perfect, but because you know that even if people fail, God never will. He becomes the anchor of your heart, the steady place you can lean on when everything else feels unstable. David knew betrayal at the hands of Saul and rejection from those he served faithfully. Yet he declared, "When my father and mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up." That is the power of God's love. It fills the void left by the closest relationships when they fall short. It takes the sting of betrayal and transforms into a testimony his faithfulness. The very pain that was meant to destroy you becomes the stage where his love is revealed in its greatest power. God's love restores dignity when rejection has stripped it away, restores joy when betrayal has stolen it, restores peace when broken trust has shattered it. When Jesus hung on the cross, he experienced the greatest rejection and betrayal known to man. Betrayed by Judas, denied by Peter, abandoned by the disciples, mocked by the crowd, forsaken by those he came to save. Yet even in that moment, love was at work. He prayed for those who betrayed him. He forgave those who rejected him. And through that act of love, he restored the entire world. If the Son of God could endure betrayal and rejection and still extend love, it proves that his love is powerful enough to heal us when we go through the same. His love did not endure rejection. It conquered it. And the same conquering love now works in us. Some of the greatest callings are born out of seasons of rejection. Some of the deepest ministries are birthed out of the wounds of betrayal. God's love does not waste pain. He redeems it. He takes what others meant for evil and uses it for good. The very place where you were broken can become the place where his love flows through you to heal others. The rejection that once crushed you can become the foundation for compassion toward those who feel unwanted. The betrayal that once scarred you can become the story that shows others how God restores. His love makes beauty from ashes, strength from weakness, purpose from pain. You may carry memories of words spoken in anger, decisions made in cruelty, relationships that ended in rejection. But God's love has the final word. His love speaks louder than the betrayal that left you bleeding. His love speaks louder than the rejection that made you question your worth. His love is not intimidated by your wounds. It is drawn to them. He steps into your brokenness not to condemn you, but to heal you. Where others saw no value, he saw infinite worth. Where others walked away, he remained. Where others discarded you, he embraced you. Every time you thought you would not recover, his love held you. Every time you wanted to give up, his love carried you. Every time betrayal tried to define your story, his love rewrote it. And even now, his love is working in the unseen, piecing back together what was broken, restoring what was lost, and preparing you for what lies ahead. His love is not just a bandage over wounds. It is a resurrection power that brings dead things back to life. The places rejection buried are the very places his love will raise again when everything else fails. God's love remains unshaken and unchanging. Life is filled with moments where the things we thought we could count on suddenly collapse. People promise loyalty and walk away. Opportunities appear secure but disappear overnight. Finances that once looked stable can be shaken in a single season. Health that seems strong can falter without warning. Even our own strength fails us when we come to the end of ourselves. In those moments, we are forced to face the fragility of everything around us. The truth is, nothing in this world is guaranteed. Nothing in this world is permanent. Nothing in this world is unshakable. And yet in the midst of it all, there is one reality that never changes, one foundation that cannot be shaken, one love that cannot be moved. God's love remains. God's love is not like shifting sands that change with the tide. His love is like a rock, firm, solid, immovable. You can build your life on it and know that when the storms come and the winds blow, it will not crumble. Everything else may give way, but his love stands. Relationships may fail, promises may be broken, friends may betray, but his love is constant. It is not built on circumstances. It is not shaken by your failures. It is not diminished by your weaknesses. His love is as steady today as it was yesterday, as faithful tomorrow as it is right now. That is why the psalmist could declare, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. Many of us have experienced the pain of watching things fail. A business that we poured our hearts into can crumble. A marriage we invested in can fall apart. A friendship we thought would last a lifetime can dissolve. Dreams we nurtured can slip away. And in the middle of such losses, it is easy to feel like everything is failing, that nothing is reliable, that hope is slipping through our hands. But if you look closer, you will see that even in those seasons, the love of God is still holding you. You may have lost possessions, but you did not lose his presence. You may have lost people, but you did not lose his promise. You may have lost strength, but his love carried you when you could no longer carry yourself. The world measures love by conditions, but God's love is covenant. He does not say, I will love you as long as you succeed, as long as you perform, as long as you never fail, Baba. He says, I will love you with an everlasting love. Everlasting means it has no beginning and no ending. It means there is no expiration date stamped on it. It means no failure, no mistake, no circumstance can cut it off. The same love that reached for you when you were lost is the same love that keeps you now. The same love that forgave you yesterday is the same love that will carry you tomorrow. His love is the only thing in this life that is unshaken when everything else trembles. Job understood this truth when everything he valued was stripped away. His wealth failed, his health failed, his children were taken, his friends misunderstood him, his wife urged him to curse God and die. Everything that could fail did fail, yet Job declared, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. What gave Job that confidence? It was the assurance that God's love and God's faithfulness did not fail even when life itself did. He knew that beyond the rubble of his circumstances, there was still an unchanging God whose love remained constant. That kind of love is not tied to outcomes. It is tied to his nature, because God cannot fail. His love cannot fail. Sometimes we measure God's love by our circumstances. If everything is going well, we say he loves us. If we are struggling, we question his love. But his love is not proven by ease. It is proven by endurance. His love is not seen in the absence of storms, but in the presence of his peace in the middle of them. His love is not measured by the blessings in your hand, but by the sacrifice of his son on the cross. The cross is the ultimate evidence that his love is unshaken. When humanity rejected him, when soldiers mocked him, when nails pierced him, his love held steady. He did not call down angels to rescue him because his love was stronger than his suffering. That same unshakable love is what surrounds you now. When people fail you, the enemy tries to use that to convince you that God will fail you too. When promises are broken, he whispers that God's promises will not stand either. But the devil is a liar. God is not man that he should lie, nor the Son of Man that he should change his mind. If he said he loves you, he means it. If he said he will never leave you nor forsake you, he means it. If he said nothing can separate you from his love, then nothing in heaven, earth, or hell can change that. His love is not fragile like human emotions. His love is eternal, sovereign, steadfast, and unmovable. Think about how many times your own strength has failed you. You thought you could carry it, but you broke down. You thought you could endure it, but you fell apart. You thought you could handle it, but you cried when nobody was looking. And yet in those moments when you could not hold on, God's love held on to you. His love does not fail when your faith fails. His love does not quit when your hope wavers. His love does not give up when you give out. His love stands when you cannot stand. His love speaks when you cannot pray. His love covers when you cannot fight. It remains unshaken when everything else crumbles. The disciples learned this after the crucifixion. Their courage failed, their loyalty failed, their commitment failed. Peter denied him 3 times. The others scattered in fear. But when Jesus rose again, his love had not changed. He did not come back with condemnation. He came back with restoration. He called Peter by name. He broke bread with the same disciples who abandoned him. He proved that his love was stronger than their failure. That is the love you serve. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It doesn't fade with disappointment. It doesn't shift with your mistakes. It is a love that refuses to be shaken. You can lose money, but you will never lose his love. You can lose people, but you will never lose his love. You can lose battles, but you will never lose his love. You can lose yourself and still be found in his love. When the storms of life rage, when the ground beneath your feet feels unstable, when everything you leaned on collapses, his love is the anchor that keeps you from drifting away. His love is the shield that guards your heart, the light that guides your steps, the foundation that never moves. God's love lifts you from failure into purpose and destiny. Failure is one of the heaviest burdens a soul can carry. It has a way of defining you, shaping your identity, and whispering to you that you are unworthy of ever rising again. Many people live their lives under the shadow of mistakes they made, opportunities they missed, or roads they should never have taken. Failure tries to convince you that your story is over, that your destiny has been canceled, that you will always be remembered by what went wrong. But God's love is not intimidated by your failures. His love reaches into the ashes of what you thought was lost and breathes new life into it. His love has the power to pick you up from the ground and set you back on the path of purpose. When Peter denied Jesus 3 times, He thought failure had disqualified him. He had promised to stand by his master, yet when the test came, fear overtook him. He wept bitterly, broken by the weight of his weakness. But after the resurrection, Jesus came looking for him. By the sea, he called Peter back, not to condemn him, but to restore him. He asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" Each time Peter answered. Jesus commissioned him with purpose. Feed my sheep. That is what the love of God does. It does not leave you in the place of failure. It calls you into the place of destiny. It does not remind you of what you did wrong. It reminds you of who you are called to be. God's love restores what failure tried to erase. Failure often tries to bury potential. It convinces you that because you stumbled, you can never run again. But God's love turns failure into fertilizer. It takes what looked like defeat and uses as the soil in which destiny grows. Moses failed when he struck down the Egyptian, fleeing into the wilderness, a fugitive and a runaway. For 40 years, he thought his purpose was buried in the sand of Egypt. But God's love met him at a burning bush, calling him back into the very place he had fled from, not as a fugitive, but as a deliverer. Failure tried to define him, but God's love redefined him. And the man who once ran in fear became the man who stood before Pharaoh with authority, because love lifted him into destiny. Sometimes failure is public, visible to everyone, and the shame it brings can feel unbearable. But even then, God's love is stronger than the opinions of people. The woman caught in adultery was thrown at the feet of Jesus by those who wanted to condemn her. According to the law, she deserved punishment, but love was standing in front of her. Jesus silenced her accusers and said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." His love lifted her from failure into a future she thought she no longer had. He did not deny her sin, but he refused to let her be defined by it. That is the nature of his love. It covers shame. It redeems failure. It restores purpose. A failure can come in many forms: a broken relationship, a failed business, a moral mistake, a dream that did not materialize. But no matter the form, God's love has the same response: to lift you. His love does not leave you lying in the dust of defeat. His love extends a hand and pulls you up. His love whispers that your story is not over. His love declares that he still has a plan for you. His love reminds you that destiny is not canceled because of failure. It is often discovered through it. The very place you thought would end you becomes the place where his love reveals a new beginning. Paul was once Saul, a persecutor of the church, a man who stood consenting to the death of believers, even overseeing the stoning of Stephen. By all accounts, he was a failure in the eyes of God's plan. But love met him on the road to Damascus. Love knocked him down, blinded him for a season, and then opened his eyes to purpose. The man who once destroyed the church became the man who built it, wrote much of the New Testament, and carried the gospel to the nations. Failure did not end his destiny. Love transformed it. That is why Paul could later write with conviction that nothing can separate us from the love of God, because he had lived it. He had been lifted by love from failure into purpose. When you understand that God's love does not abandon you in failure, you begin to see setbacks differently. You realize that every failure is an opportunity for God's love to display His power. You begin to recognize that your greatest testimonies often come out of your greatest trials. You stop seeing failure as the end and start seeing it as the middle of a story that God is still writing. His love ensures that failure is not final, that mistakes are not permanent, that destiny is not canceled. His love rewrites chapters you thought were closed, and He uses even the broken pieces to create something beautiful. The enemy thrives on keeping people stuck in shame. He wants you to replay your failures over and over until you believe you cannot move forward. But God's love breaks that cycle. His love says you are forgiven, you are restored, you are chosen. His love says get up because there is still work for you to do. His love says the gifts and the calling on your life are without repentance. That means God does not take them back because of failure. His love sustains your calling even when you falter, and He will use even your failures as a platform for His glory. Think of how many times in your life you thought failure was the end, yet here you are, still standing. That is not because of your strength alone, but because His love lifted you. Every time you felt unworthy to try again, His love whispered courage into your soul. Every time you thought you had gone too far, His love reached farther still. Every time you thought you had lost everything, His love showed you that He is everything. His love is not just about forgiving failure. It is about transforming it into fuel for destiny. You are not the sum total of your mistakes. You are not the failure others have labeled you as. You are not disqualified because of your past. You are defined by the love of God, and that love has declared that your life has purpose, that your steps are ordered, that your destiny is intact. Failure may have knocked you down, but God's love refuses to leave you there. He will lift you, strengthen you, and set you back on the path He designed before the foundations of the world. His love will not only restore you, it will propel you into the very place you were always meant to be. Nothing, no sin, no struggle, no storm can separate you from His love. Life has a way of confronting us with challenges that make us question whether God's love is still with us. Sin tries to convince us that we are too dirty to be loved. Struggles whisper that we are too weak to be worthy. Storms shout that we are too surrounded by chaos to be remembered. But the truth is, God's love is not fragile, it is not conditional, it is not limited by circumstances. His love is so deep, so wide, so strong, that nothing in this world or beyond it can sever you from it. His love is not like human love, which may falter when tested. His love is divine, eternal, and unbreakable, reaching into the lowest valleys and the darkest nights to remind you that you are never alone. Sin tells us we are separated from God, but grace declares that His love bridges the gap. When Adam and Eve fell in the garden, shame made them hide. Sin made them cover themselves and run from the presence of God. But God came walking, calling their names, searching for them even when they were guilty. That is the pattern of his love. It doesn't wait for you to find him. It comes to find you. His love reaches beyond sin, not to excuse it, but to redeem you from it. The cross stands as proof that your sin is not stronger than his love. Jesus carried every failure, every mistake, every act of rebellion, and he nailed it to the cross. He bore the weight of sin so that love could have the final say. That is why Paul declared with confidence that where sin abounds, grace abounds even more. No sin you've committed has the power to cancel God's love, because his love is greater than your worst failures. Struggles often make us doubt ourselves, and in turn we begin to doubt God's affection for us. We think that if we were stronger, if we were better, if we were more faithful, then God would be pleased with us. But his love is not measured by your ability to stand strong. It is revealed in his ability to hold you when you are weak. Paul pleaded 3 times for the thorn in his flesh to be removed, and God answered, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." That means his love is not withdrawn when you struggle. It is magnified. He loves you even in your weakness, and his love is not diminished by it. Your struggle does not separate you from his love. It becomes the very place his love proves itself to be. Unfailing storms are some of the hardest tests of faith. When the winds of life blow and the waters rise, it can feel like God has forgotten you. The disciples experienced this when they were caught in the storm at sea. The winds howled, the waves crashed, and Jesus was asleep in the boat. In their fear, they cried out, "Master, do you not care that we are perishing?" That question echoes in the hearts of many believers during storms. But when Jesus stood and spoke, "A peace, be still," the storm obeyed. His love had been present all along, even when it seemed silent. The truth is, storms do not prove the absence of his love. They reveal the power of his love to sustain you in the middle of chaos. The fact that you are still standing after everything you've been through is evidence that his love never left you.